This is the Samsung Galaxy Watch 6 Classic. It is not just new and shiny, but the rotating bezels are back, baby. So let's find out what else makes this watch super awesome. Now, it's been a while since I did a smartwatch video here in this channel because, to be honest, a lot of smartwatches has been pretty much the same. So the smartwatch space has been very uninspiring for me. But then when Samsung decided to release this, I knew I had to check it out. But first, let's see what comes inside of the box. So Samsung has made the box with a recyclable material, which is lovely to know. Now there is the name of the watch on top and image of the watch, and of course the Samsung logo at the bottom. On the side again we have the name of the watch. Then on the other side is the size, where in this case is the 47mm version. At the back from the top there's a bulk of the information like the specs and the disclaimers over there. Then below there's the size of the wrist that this watch fits, which in this case is 50mm and 70mm. Then the recyclable logo is apparently printed with soy ink symbol. And no, do not attempt to lick on that. Then inside we have the actual watch itself and a couple of model and serial number stickers. But wait, no charging puck? Of course they have it. Under the top cover, you have to pull the cardboard box part out, where at the top part you find the information booklet, where at the bottom there is the charging puck to a USB-C connector. Now in terms of the design and build quality, this watch looks and feels classically stylish. Now Samsung has put in some serious thought into the detailed finish of this watch. And as you can see that the top rim of the bezel and the sides of the case and the lugs have a brushed aluminium finish. But the buttons at the side of the watch, the bottom of the case and the top lugs are all in a shiny chrome finish. So yeah, basically the parts that you touch the most except for the buttons are all in matte finish, which are expected to cover any fingerprints and accidental scuffs, which typically happens when you wear a watch like this. Now I also like the red rim that they put around the home button, which is a nice little touch. Now another nice touch is that they are using a sapphire crystal for the watch face, which is scratch resistant and also even recessed a little bit, which means that if you have any chance of accidentally bumping the watch into something, so you'll hit the rim first other than the actual face itself. So the rotating bezels acts as a sort of a shield for the display, so kudos to Samsung for doing this. And of course that brings me to the rotating bezels, which is so clicky yet very smooth to the touch. Now it's like having a fidget toy at your wrist at all times. It is super satisfying just to play with it, especially with the tactile feedback when rotating it. Now the straps also feels good to the touch and more importantly to put on the wrist. It is a super soft material that gives it more than enough flexibility. And I also love how this classic band puts on the watch on the hand like a typical regular watch instead of how it was on the Watch 5 Pro, where you needed some time to get used to putting the watch on your hand as opposed to a classic style like this. And of course the main highlight is how easy it is to change the strap with a new button press mechanism, aka the one-click watch band. Now it is super easy to use and change the straps, and it's a definite win for those of you who like to always change your watch strap to fit their outfit. So yes, this makes it more modern, convenient, and what is lovely is the fact that this watch band is also backwards compatible. Next, on to the display. And my first thought was, ooh, yes, a huge screen. Because I've always preferred a bigger watch face, and coming from the Watch 5 Pro, I immediately fell in love with this display size, which is a 1.5 inches AMOLED display, and the display is very vibrant and sharp, and most importantly it gets brighter than the previous generation of 2000 nits of max brightness. Now that is double of the previous generation, so outdoor use is definitely no issue over here. Now one thing to note is that if I have the watch facing away from me and then turn it towards me, which takes about 0.6 seconds for the screen to brighten up more, which hopefully it will be more instantaneous with future software updates. Now speaking of the future, I see a future of you clicking the like and the subscribe button. Now if you guys like a written version of this video, do head on to our website at www.adamlobo.tv and also join our community Discord channel to enter our current 100,000 subscriber giveaway that is still running as of the recording of this video, and all the links will be below, and thank you very much in advance. Now as for navigation, navigating through the watch UI was great as expected because Samsung uses its own One UI version 5.0 built on top of Wear OS version 4.0. Now in typical Samsung fashion, it is bright, colorful and definitely very smooth to navigate through. Swipe from the bottom to see all the apps installed in the watch. Swiping from the left, you'll see all the notification, and swiping from the right is where you can see all the active tasks. And since the rotating bezels is back, you can of course use the rotating bezels to go back and forth between the notification or the tasks. Then the two buttons is the home button, where if you press it, it will automatically go back to the main watch face or the home screen, and the other button is the back button. Now there's also other specific controls that you can use by going into the settings, advanced features and gestures. And here's where you can do gestures like answering calls, dismissing alerts or even calls, and even quickly launching an app as well. So with this, Samsung should do a collaboration with Dr. Strange, don't you think? Now, taking calls on the watch when it's on the wrist for indoors are great, but if you're taking the calls in a louder environment, especially on outdoors, keep in mind that the speakers may not be as that loud in those kind of situations. Next is the app. So a smartwatch is only as good as the apps that comes with it, or rather it supports. Now in order for the apps to really work very well with the watch, there needs to be a lot of sensors. So yes, there are a myriad of sensors built inside the watch. And to name a few, there is the accelerometer, there's the barometer, to name a few. But of course there's tons for you guys to really get every sensing done in the Watch 6 Classic. Now there are a number of apps that utilize them, from the exercise routine to your heart rate, your stress level and even your sleep. Now Samsung even has a sleeping coach that can also help you to sleep better, and of course the sleep scoring as well. And of course the sleep scoring has been really great when it comes to really knowing how much of a best sleep that I'm getting. Then there are other highlights like the body composition, blood pressure monitoring and also ECG, where the body composition is where you can add your weight and height and follow the app instructions accordingly to know an interesting amount of stats about your body. Now currently I'm injured, so I couldn't test out things like the maps turn-by-turn navigation, and my favorite thing of all is of course working out. I do miss that a lot, which is something that I usually do every single day, but based on how it was on the Watch 5 Pro, I'm very confident that when it comes to the overall sensing and of course the tracking, this is going to be doing very well too. So yeah, stay tuned for my in-depth review coming in a few weeks when I'm good to go. Hopefully either in a few weeks or maybe probably in a month. Then the blood pressure monitor and the ECG can be literally lifesavers, but you do need a separate blood pressure monitor to calibrate, so I didn't get to try that out. But the ECG is also simple enough to use, where it will tell you that if it detects any anomalies in your heart rhythm. Now another improvement is that you can connect the watch to a new phone without resetting the watch, which is great, so you don't have to go through the whole setup process if you don't want to, especially if you're like me who constantly change the phone, especially when it comes to reviewing, so we don't have to go through the process from scratch. Now speaking of pairing, if you ever wondered how is it like to pair with other Android devices, while you can easily do that, there are features that you would not get, like the Find My Phone feature, the camera remote shutter button. Then the ECG and the blood pressure features is not also available since it's also under the Samsung's Health app. But other than that, things like notification and alerts is still very great when using this on other Android smartphones. Now on the battery side, the watch is decent but not very great by any means. It uses a 425 mAh of battery, which is smaller than the Watch 5 Pro, which comes at 590 mAh. Now during my initial use, I got around a day and a half worth of use without any exercise done, with still plenty of amount of battery left. But if you're like me who like to use the sleeping tracking feature, you might need to charge it back up during the next day. But if you're using the included charger, I found it that it took me about an hour to get it fully charged. Now, when it comes to the price, this Watch 6 Classic is priced at 1,499 ringgit for the 47mm Bluetooth version, or 1,399 ringgit for the 43mm version. And if you're looking for the LTE variants, it is priced at 1,799 ringgit for the 47mm and 1,699 ringgit for the 43mm variant. So in conclusion, what do I think of the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic? Well, during my first impressions, it is good. Pretty good even. Now some may complain about the battery life, but since it fast charges and I use the watch every day to track my sleep, it is definitely not an issue for me. But of course, stay tuned for my full in-depth review after I use this watch further, and of course do let me know what you would like for me to test out further in the comment section below.